I'm live on the net. Check, check, check. Hey, hey. My microphone says it's coming through. Let's make sure Pro Tools is... Everything looks good. Okay, what's up? I'm back live on the net. I was live yesterday. I was editing drums, and today I am going to continue doing that. So I kind of edited them to get them in time, and now I'm going to start like augmenting and using samples and all that fun stuff to make them sound cooler. I'm working on a track that I started working on a couple days ago. There is no clear aim for what this is. I'm just kind of having fun. I had my friend Chris Stevenson play drums on it, and here, actually, I guess I'll press play the track all the way through once, and then we'll start going from there. So this is what the track sounds like currently. That's what it sounds like. My internet cut out there for a second, so, oops. That happens from time to time. I don't really know why, but, yeah. Let's get these kicks sampled. Lovely. Let's get these all frozen. really good stuff. Let's throw this over here. Click this button. And let's just copy over these settings that we got here. That's a snare drum. If anybody out there is watching, what's up? How are you doing? I'm working on this track here. Don't really have any plans. Okay, let's go through and get these samples working. Nice. Glad you're headbanging, because this is a it's funny actually, this is not exactly a headbanging song. Kind of, I don't know. I don't really know what the song is. But right now I'm just kind of working on trying to get these drums playing nicely. I'm kind of doing some extra work to get these drum samples totally locked in, feeling right. So let's, I remember I looped this whole thing, so let's get this little loop going. Unable to connect to chat. Let's give this a little refresh. There we go. Cool music. Thank you. This is something I'm doing just for fun. I had my friend Chris Stevenson play drums on this, and he's a monster drummer. And right now, so we tracked that yesterday, and I edited it yesterday live on stream. And now I'm just getting these samples to play nicely on it. Let's break the rules here. Hey, what's going on, Adam? And there we go. Now I know I copy pasted these, so I can get away with doing something like this. And it will line up with my samples. Oh, we're gonna break the law a little bit more here. And I'm going to... How do I have these in my track down here? Get a kick start here. We're gonna break the law. We are going to take this kick. Up, 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 up. Do. What am I doing? This is a triplet. I'm reading a bunch of messages that are coming in at the same time. Triplet. That's okay if it sounds super robotic. Actually, I'll put a little bit more effort in just cause. This is my music that I'm working on, so I'm kind of going for a bit of an electronic meets acoustic hybrid sound. That works for me. Let's do this, throw some fades on it. And let's get that on our little sample track that we got up here. Let's unfreeze these. And let's take this, throw it up here. Oops. Come on. Oh yeah. That works for me. Probably cut out the... okay. Sure. We're kind of figuring out what we're doing as we go here. So if anybody has any questions about anything that I'm doing, any of the rules that I'm breaking, or you just want to talk about anything audio production related, this is really casual. I would be working on this. This is just kind of like fun at the end of the day to unwind. So if there's anything you want to talk about, feel free to chat and I will reply. I like talking about audio. I like talking about life. I like talking about my band. I like talking. Cool. That works for me. Let me make drums, no kick group, because I might do that again. That's not what I wanted to do. When I have bands in the studio to record, do you usually mix and edit with them present or alone? Edit, for sure. I think it's really important that you kind of edit as you track, because every decision you make and everything you do kind of influences the next decision you make, right? So let's say you record an instrument and it's kind of out of time, you know you can fix it. Well, if you're tracking on top of that, you're not giving the musician a clear representation of like what they're actually playing to, which is going to affect the way they play. And usually if you're not editing as you go, you will kind of make more of an unnecessary mess. Same thing kind of goes with mixing. If I've done my job correctly, by the end of tracking, it shouldn't be crazy far away from the final mix, usually. And that's something that has taken years and years and years to kind of get to. I used to always track stuff. I would track the drums, and I would track the bass, and I'd track the guitars, and I'd track the vocals without cleaning anything up. And it was just kind of like this huge disaster that I had to like try and piece together at the end of the session when I was mixing it. And sometimes you don't realize that you have these problems. You're like, oh, my guitars don't actually sound that good when I cut out the mud from them, or I don't know, I overlooked this or whatever. So to answer your question, as I am known to do, kind of answering too much, I usually will mix and edit as I'm tracking, but the final mix gets done later. I used to be kind of nervous to tune vocals in front of a vocalist in the studio, so I used to do that all afterwards, but now I have no shame. And yeah, I'll just, as long as the singer's cool with it, I'll do it right in front of them and they got no problem. I've been following you quite a while lately. I discovered you, Red Light Blue. I see the stuff you do. It's really great, and I wonder how you started making music. Cool. Yeah. I mean, I started playing guitar when I was like roughly when I was 13. I'm 25 now. And that's kind of when I started like playing it seriously. I took piano lessons, stuff like that before. But guitar was my main instrument. And then in high school, I didn't really have any friends so I was trying to like convince all my friends to play music with me, but no one really wanted to. Or at least no one wanted to on the same level. But I was in a couple bands in high school, and you jam with them and you write songs, and none of them are good, but you're fun, you're having fun, you're a kid. And from there I wanted to record. I wanted to show people these ideas we had. So from there I started getting into recording, and this is probably like 2011ish, 2012 maybe. And yeah, so like recording was a totally different game. There wasn't as much information online. So I started recording when I was in high school, and then when high school finished, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life, and the only thing I enjoyed doing was music. And thankfully my parents kind of forced me to go to college for music production. I really enjoyed it. And then from there just started seeing bands, local bands that played in the city that I live in, and through that met people, started recording bands, and one thing leads to another. Next thing you know, like 5-6 years go by, and yeah, you're doing it professionally. It's funny though, Red Light Blue and I have been friends since I moved to the city I live in, which is Ottawa. So we live in the same city. I don't know if he's ever said that. Oops. But yeah, we've been friends since I was like 7 years old. His older brother is my age, and we were in classes from elementary school and high school. So I hung out with both of them a ton. And then one day he told me that he had a YouTube channel because he was kind of keeping it secret from his real life friends. And throughout our lives, we've, used to hang out and kind of just like doing our own things, then hang out doing our own things. But he's like my one YouTube friend. He's like my one friend that actually takes YouTube seriously and enjoys doing it. So, yeah, we talk to each other all the time about YouTube related things. And it's really cool that he's now making music. Obviously I'm a part of that, but it's it's really cool. It's awesome that he's ended up here, and Yeah, we actually used to have a channel when I was 14 years old on YouTube, like a collaboration channel. We didn't. I don't think we posted very much on it, but yeah, fun fact. Okay, that's that section complete. Okay, let's get the ghost notes done over here. To anyone that's tuned in or whatnot, I'm just casually making some music, working on nothing super important, and having fun doing it. This is really casual, so if you have any questions about anything, if there's anything you want to talk about, I'm an open book. Yeah. I'm in triplet grid. Let's get these guys a little louder. I'll just take this and throw this over here. I don't even know if we need a snare sample on this. Yeah, I'm gonna just can this. Oh, is it working? Pro Tools? Come on. Uh-oh. Pro Tools might crash. Yeah. It's quite a story. Also, I've seen your reaction video when you were 15 or so. Who would have thought you'd end up here? Good job, man. Yeah, I mean, that seems to be the, I don't know. It is cool to think back, in hindsight, on how far things have come, which is great. You know what's not great? Pro Tools freezing up on me. Let's get this open again. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, the people I used to make music with back when I was in high school, none of them have really pursued it. And if you're making, like, if your goal is to make a living making music, it's not easy. As much as it's like a challenge to just make, a living playing music, it's also like, it's a lifestyle. It's more than just like what you do for work kind of thing. You have to be immersed in it and all in, and you have to be smart about it as well. So I don't blame anyone that doesn't want to live this ridiculous lifestyle, because it is, there's definitely moments of uncertainty. Oh, Pro Tools just doesn't want to do that one thing. Yeah, there's definitely a ton of uncertainty, but no, it's cool. It's cool. I got no complaints. And I'm really enjoying this YouTube thing. I know I don't post super often, but I used to have a YouTube channel that's still like live, but I've deleted most of the videos, unfortunately. I wish I didn't, because it'd be so funny to laugh at them. When I was like 14 years old, and it was like me doing guitar covers and stuff like that. So I've always wanted to have a YouTube channel in some way, and just kind of like connect with people that like the same things. So it's cool that I actually took the time to start doing this again, because yeah, it's something that it's cool, it's fun. All right, are we gonna crash the computer? So far, no crash. If I delete that, okay, boom, we got it. And let me just, yeah, it's coming through good. You love to see it. This is another one of those. Let's separate the kick from the rest of the performance, because we're not making organic acoustic music here, and that's okay. Oh no, is the internet cutting out? Nope, we're good. Let's get this back over here. I'm not going to attempt to butcher your name, but to last in the chat, I assume that you're probably a musician yourself. Cool. And let's take this. Let's get our friend back over here. Boom, boom, boom. Let's unfreeze these tracks. These are our samples. And let's freeze these back up. Actually, before we do that, let's pull this back down. Let's take... Where's my group? Okay, that's my group. Let's take all this because it's all actually copy pasted. And let's drag this over here. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Nice, now we're getting to the fun stuff. I don't really have a goal of what I'm doing. I'm just kind of running the kick and snare through some go-to samples that I have, and then I'll probably end up distorting and really kind of affecting the drums in different ways. But right now, my focus is just getting my samples to like line up accurately. There's a lot of ghost notes in the snare drum, which is fantastic. I love that, and I want them to be triggered properly and not to be like mis-triggering, especially because there's a lot of like there's going to be syncopation between the electronic percussion that's already in the track as well as the acoustic drums. So everything's got to be super tight and it's got to be super like punchy. It can't be sloppy at all. Cool, that is triggering correctly. This is where we start having some fun. Alrighty, let's get this all chopped into bits, and let's freeze all this just so it's not working the computer. I am told that there are 8 people in the chat, which is cool. I love seeing that. If anybody has any questions about audio production or anything, any questions about what I'm doing, any questions about music, pursuing a career in music, any questions about my band, Locket, feel free to ask away. Any questions about YouTube? I may not be the most qualified person, but I can answer your questions. This is a casual thing that I'm doing here, working on these drums, so if anybody wants to talk about anything, bring it up. Do 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 do. Do ba do boom ba boom ba doom boom ba. Okay, these are triggering properly. This is good. This is the mark of a good drummer. Should be 2 hits. We'll let that slide. And this should be a harder hit. It's kind of whack as well. And as well. That last hit needs a little bit more juice. Cool. Then we take this, put that down there, and all together we should have a nice... You love to see it. Let's take this entire chorus section and just... we can't copy the whole thing over. We can copy one part at a time. Really exciting stuff we got here. Do I have any kicks on the... Yeah. These are snares. That's what I meant to say. Why is that messed up? Howdy, Jason. How you doing? I'd lie if I say I'm not feeling weird that I'm the only one talking here, but I play guitar in a band, and we do small gigs. I'm a college freshman, but I want to do more music, like, bigger than gigs. I hear ya. What, whereabout are you living? I live in Ottawa, Canada, which is not the greatest place to pursue a music career, but it is definitely doable. What is tripping here? Nice. Good to see you back, Johan. I don't know why I'm messing this up. What do we got here? Yeah. To anyone that just popped in, if you have any questions about anything, you know the drill. Ask away. I'm an open book. If not, I'm going to keep just working away on this, getting these drums triggered accurately. Kind of putting in a bunch of work up front to make sure that it's just like done properly. I only have to do it once, and then once it's done, I never have to worry about it again. Tunisia. Wow. What is it like playing live music in Tunisia? And what, did you mention what genre of music? Yeah, dude, that is a crazy experience. Jason, I'm doing well. I'm just, working away on this track still. Same old, same old. Getting these ghost notes to play nicely, which is happening. We love to see that. That's crazy, Tunisia. Ah, getting lost my own wave files here. That's a rough edit on my part. Alright, if I have done everything correctly, these snares should play nicely. We play rock, mostly indie, grunge, alternative, but then there's those pop music we cover. Cool. And like, are there clubs and promoters and is there like an infrastructure to be able to actually like play shows and, you know, maybe travel and play out of town shows and grow an audience? Or is that not doable where you live? Have you noticed when you duplicate in Pro Tools after some repeats that it's not fully on the grid? Drives me so mad. Usually when I notice that, it's usually an error on my end. I don't know if I've noticed that, but or maybe I think it's my fault and it's actually Pro Tools, and I'm not too sure. Okay, we got those cut, which is fantastic. That took not too much time, but it took time. Let's get these toms, all this bleed, anything that's not a tom hit. I don't want to hear it. This, in any production, right here, you want to make your drums sound better? Get rid of everything that is not a tom hit in your tom mics. When you have a microphone that is hanging above a drum, and you're hitting other drums, the skin is gently resonating, it's shaking, it's vibrating, and this is what you hear. This is the ugliest bleed of all. Get rid of that, boom, your drums sound cleaner, they sound more focused, life is better. You can use a gate, but I like to manually do it because it's done once, it's done, it's out of the way, I never have to worry about it again. And yeah. And then in the case that you have these tom hits, I like to edit mine pretty aggressively. Like this. Boom, 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 boom. Works for me. I don't really care about the sustain very much. It's more about just getting that initial impact and then getting out of the way. That is how I like to live my life. Nice, we got the big boy flams. Boom, 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 boom. Well, yeah, that's possible, but my band doesn't want to take that seriously. That doesn't bother me, but I kind of want to get bigger experience, you know? What advice do you have? I say use the internet. Even, I don't know how familiar you are with my position, but I'm fortunate to play in a band called Locket Tours. I actually calculated it. We did, in the last year, I think we were on the road for just over 2 months, which isn't a lot relative to other bands in our world, but, you know, that's something. And then, I don't know, altogether, I've probably toured a total of 6 months, 7 months. Not a crazy amount, but enough to get a healthy taste of it. And it's great, it's fun, it's chaos. I don't know how, you can't really sum it up into a couple adjectives. It's an experience, it's an adventure. But even with, you know, us having a booking agent, a label, a manager, and this team around us, and, you know, it's not just us doing all the work to get these shows and stuff. You got to use the internet. Like, everyone uses the internet. That's how you can connect with people. Obviously, you want to make those connections live and in person at a venue. And there's no connection like that. But I would say find what you're good at. If it's playing guitar, if it's writing songs, if it's covering songs, and broadcast that to the world. It won't be very good at first, probably. But once you get through those growing pains, and yeah, you just continue to make an effort to get better at every video you do and every step, you'll kind of find a way that you enjoy doing it. And you'll find a balance of like, okay, I like doing this and people seem to like that. Let's kind of go in that direction, build an audience, be real. People like to connect with real people. And yeah, then if you do have original music, if you do have, you know, whatever it is, you can kind of push that out to the audience that you've created. That would be my advice to anyone that plays music at all. Don't feel like, you watch these documentaries and you see rock stars making it in a totally different world. And I know so many bands that like treat their band like a band would, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. But the world has completely changed. So use the internet to your advantage. Don't be afraid of it. Don't think because Nirvana didn't use the internet that you don't have to use the internet. It's a good tool. That would be my advice. And, yeah. Also, connect with people. If you're a guitar player, for example, reach out. Reach out to people. Reach out to Mr. Red Light Blue and be like, hey, I want to play guitar on your next song. How can I do that? And if you can, provide value, if you can do something cool for them, 9 times out of 10, people will be like, yeah, let's do it. Let's connect. Let's make music together. That would be my advice. Hopefully that made sense. Trust me, take one bar and duplicate it like 8 times, and the 8th will be a little bit off the grid when you zoom in. I'm going to test your theory right now. Boom. 1 bar. Cut. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I did 9. Back. 8. 8 times. I don't know what to tell you. We're right on the grid. We're on the money. I think you need to update your Pro Tools. What are some pieces of gear people make a big deal about that you think is overrated? Are you talking about like a type of gear, like microphones or preamps or compressors? Or are you talking about like specific gear? Like, don't buy, I don't know, something. Some specific piece of gear. Sorry, I'm a terrible multitasker. These ones I'll actually let hang a little bit more. We'll allow it this time. Actually gonna cut on this because this is junk. Guess there's no tom hits up until this part here. That makes sense. All right, let's grab these, do this, and pray that the computer works. Recording related gear, mics, preamps, outboard gear. Well, I think, okay, my philosophy, and it is different than a lot of people's, but the way I look at it is I work with bands. I make a living working with bands. That is how I make my living. That's how I make the majority of my income. So I must be doing something right. But yeah, if you're on the internet and you're looking at forums, people are going to tell you, you need this, you need that, you need this, you need that. And I have the luxury, and I've had the luxury since I was 19 years old, working at Pebble Studios, which is a studio here in Ottawa, and it has an SSL console. I have old school Yuri 1176, an LA2A, a pair of distressors, Neumann microphones, Neve preamps. I've used everything. I've recorded to tape. Sorry, I haven't used everything, but I've used enough serious equipment and used it for years and years and years and years and years to know what is of value and what isn't. It kind of depends. It would be nice to have an SSL console, different preamps, different microphones, different compressors and all that stuff. But the reality is I do all of my mixing here in my basement. All I need is my computer. I think it's important to have a fast computer. I have a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2, which is like the cheapest interface money can buy. It works. It's not amazing, but it's not bad. It definitely works. I have a pair of Adam A7X speakers and a Yamaha HS8 sub. If I have my speakers, an interface, and my computer with all my software on it, boom, I can mix whatever I need. I can make it happen. I don't need outboard compressors. I don't need, crazy converters. I don't need all that stuff to be able to do what I'm already doing. Yeah, I think a lot of people worry about the wrong side of the microphone. They worry about all the gear in the signal chain versus how good the musician is and how good the performer is. If you have an amazing drummer, for example, what I have in front of me here, I have a drummer that, he's a world-class drummer. This guy's toured the world a million times. In Canada, we have something called a Juno, which is like the Canadian version of a Grammy. It's less prestigious, but it does mean something here. He's got 2 nominations for Junos. We recorded this with a Focusrite 18i20, so an 8 preamp like Focusrite USB interface. Cheap microphones, just because it's what we had. But he's an amazing drummer. So you get amazing quality recordings. If I would have used Neve preamps, we're not getting any closer to a better performance. So yeah, I would say, if I had to say one thing, I would say people do focus a little bit too much on preamps. Having one nice preamp is great. If you're like recording vocals, it's great to have a nice preamp. For example, here at the moment, I have this Neve Portico 5032. This is nice to have for when I'm tracking vocals. But I don't need 24 of them. So I would say preamps are things that people worry a little too much about. Someone's going to probably fight me, but hey, I don't care. And then, yeah, when it comes to like compressing or compressors, it's nice to be able to compress stuff on the way in. I say if you have a distressor, will cover most of what you need for the style of music that I work on, and or an 1176. Like, you can't go wrong with either of those compressors. But at the same time, I will record stuff with nothing on the way in, no EQ, no compressors or anything like that, and just use software. And I get to the same place at the end. I get to the same result. So I just rambled a bunch there. What are some pieces of gear people make a big deal about that you think is overrated? Yeah, I would say preamp choice is probably at the top of that now in 2020, because you can really, the consumer grade gear isn't as crappy as it used to be. Oh yeah, Corey, I listened to All Out and I think you guys did a great job. I was wondering what's your favorite song on the record? Thank you very much. I appreciate hearing that. We made that a long time ago, so I'm glad that you still enjoy it, even though it's only been out for 6 months or whatever it is. My favorite song. I don't know if I can pick a favorite. I think All Out, like the song by itself, is one of my favorite. I think Brad sings insanely high at the end, and like it's just like so chaotic. I think Even If It Kills Me, the last song on the record, is like a roller coaster. That thing like is insanity. That's chaos. I like the song Other People. I think that one is like if you look at the lyrics on that one, it's really, really, really well written and really like interesting. And it I don't know, it's everything ties together. The vocals and the story tie in with like, the dynamics of the instrumental going from soft to loud and everything. So I think that's like a very complete sounding song. Are we back? Is the internet back? Yeah, that cut out. Sorry about that. My internet. It ain't great. Let's import. Sure. Nice. We're back. Yeah, sorry about that. Internet. What can you do? I'm hardwired to my my router, so I don't know I don't know what the problem is, but some nights it acts up, and then other nights it's fine. So I appreciate whoever stuck around. Crush. Drums. Let's get the drums of this. Going to you know what? Cool, it's coming along. I'm about to do a computer upgrade, and I was thinking about switching DAWs. As a Pro Tools user, do you consider it to be worth using over something like Logic? I think it's completely dependent on your goals. If you're trying to pursue being like an audio engineer, like someone that records bands and like works with a lot of other people, I think knowing Pro Tools is definitely a benefit. It's like the English language where it's like the language of business. So knowing Pro Tools definitely helps. I started on Logic 9 before Logic X was even a thought, and I still use Logic actually. I use it. I think it's really important to know Logic because a lot of artists that I work with use Logic. If your goal is to like make demos and to not to say that you can't make professional recordings on Logic, but like if your goal is to like just create, I think Logic is a way better DAW for that. It's way more intuitive for a musician. It's got way better like stock virtual instruments. I think if you're going to be like spending a lot of time editing, Pro Tools would probably be what I would say to use, but I'm also not a proficient editor in Logic, so I'm not too sure if there is really an advantage there. I would say depending on another thing to factor in, depending on what your how many years you've sunk into learning Logic. If you've spent like many years learning it and you know it pretty well, I'd just say stick with it. Yeah, Pro Tools isn't cheap as well. One thing I would say, if you are considering trying Pro Tools, there is a monthly subscription, so maybe sign up for a month, mess around with it, or download Pro Tools first, which is like the free version of it, and mess around with that first and kind of get a feel for it to see if it's actually going to provide any value. Because if I were to switch from, I've been using Reaper for years. I know a bunch of people that use Reaper professionally. They make a living off their audio using Reaper. Yeah, paying monthly. Yeah, I wouldn't want to pay monthly for a DAW. I have a perpetual license, which means that I own it outright, but it is certainly not cheap. The only reason why I switched from Logic to Pro Tools is because of school. When I went to school, my program taught Pro Tools, and it took me about a full semester to kind of like make the transition. Granted, I was not a Logic Pro. I was like a Logic hobbyist at that point. So hopefully that provides some sort of insight. But I think it's up to you to kind of figure out what's the path for you. Okay, let's have some fun here. What do I want to do? Right now I've kind of created like a rock drum sound. It's not like fully fleshed out, but it's kind of like working towards just getting a standard rock drum sound that I would get, which isn't a bad thing. But the point of this whole exercise and just like doing this is to experiment, to kind of get outside your comfort zone and do something a little different. So let's go to our snare sample here. And first of all, I'm going to just save this as a preset. File save as Cory snare. I don't know why I write Cory because I'm the only person that uses this computer, but Cory snare, what's the song called? Lurk. And let's clear this and we're seeing undercover here. Let's go to various drum kits. This is something my friend sent me that I downloaded off the internet. Did I make a... So, start layering a bunch of nonsense up. I wonder if I took... What if I threw like a delay on it? Let's just take good old H delay here. That's confusing. I'm trying to go for something rhythmic. There's no real plans here. I think it's pretty simple, to be honest. Once you really know your DAW, no other DAW is better, and all the shortcuts workflow, knowing where everything is. I agree. I think it's just a tool. Whatever works for you works for you. If I had learned Logic before Pro Tools, down the line it might have been a different story, but I'm so used to Pro Tools now that it's where I'm most efficient. Yes. I think like having one main language is obviously really important and knowing it inside and out, but it doesn't also hurt to be like, fluent in different DAWs. And once you really understand the idea of one, I think you can pick up another one pretty quickly. But it might be a little frustrating at the same time. Did I make a... not bass, snare. not what I want. I want a super thin. I don't even know where to look. We're just going to start clicking. 187 samples. Yeah, that's not too far off from what I want. Not. Okay. Different approach. We're going to take a different approach. Oh, this doesn't need to be on there. This is just some preset. Let's suffocate these drums. Sorry, anyone wearing headphones? Not what I want. Let's do I have VMR? I do. Let's grab another one of these. Let's wipe it. And where's my good old friend? Something. Okay, we're getting even crazier. We're just experimenting. There's no rules here. I'm trying to find some messed up sound, but it still sounds cool. Right now, again, it's sounding really large and like big stadium. I want it to be, I don't know. I want it to be a little bit more direct, but still sound huge. That makes no sense, but let's try it. Okay, I think I'm close. Decapitator is not a bad idea, but I like this lo-fi plugin, like the stock lo-fi plugin, because it gates it as well, which is nice. This is only for a short period of time. I'm gonna go back and forth a million times. I definitely know I want it to be like lo-fi right at the start. Yes, Hybrid Theory, very good record. That is definitely, in a sense, kind of what I'm going for. Okay, so now that we have it a little, it's tighter. I like the snare drum so much more now. I want those ghost notes to really come up. Now we will try our good old friend here. Not bad. It's getting somewhere. I'm gonna try the radiator as well. That's another different kind of crunch. To anybody that's just tuning in, my name's Corey. I'm sure you probably know that by the YouTube channel. But yeah, I'm just messing around with a song that I started working on a couple days ago. My friend Chris Stevenson played drums on it, and there's no real goal for this. This is just kind of experimenting, making a bunch of noise, trying some stuff out. Also, if I ever have the plugins underneath my camera, let me know, because that is not on purpose. But yeah, if you want to talk about anything production related, if you want to talk about my band Locket, or if you want to just talk about anything else, just bring it up in the chat, and I'm reading it, and let's chill out and have some fun and make some music. I like that. I like what's going on here. Let me just kill the reverbs that I have. And I'm actually, so okay, I'm liking where this is going. I'm liking like the roboticness of it, how tight it is, and like how not dynamic it is. I want it to kind of have that drum loop energy. I want it to be crisp. Actually, before I want to do two things at once, let's address the kick drum first. I'm going to go for a bit of a rounder kick drum sound, just so it's not really like grabbing that compressor, because I like having the like the monster compressor on it, because it just keeps it all in line. Everything plays nicely. Let's save this as Corey. Oh, come on. Corey. What's the name? Lurk. Kick. There we go. We did it. Let's grab a different kick drum here. Thank you very much, Evan. I appreciate that. I'm sure that you probably contributed to that in some small way, and I very much appreciate it. That's kind of an interesting little loop. Let me throw this back on. We don't like that. Do I have these pre? I do. That is why. That is why we don't like that. Let's get rid of all that. Okay, we're going to try this one more time on the snare drum. Absolutely breaking all the rules. Let's grab... Let's just clear these. I'm definitely starting to lose my reference. Okay, I don't hate that. Let me just play this second verse part. I think we're going to go back. I think after all of those clicks, I've learned that maybe going back to the rock drums makes sense, and then I can get a little freakier on the electronic perk. Sometimes you got to try something to realize, it wasn't the move. phase. Not agree more. Great drum mix is definitely important. Okay. We've made a drum sound. Let me listen to this one more time from the top. A bit of a quieter volume, blended a little bit more into the track. Let's see what we got. there's definitely still a couple snares that sound a little silly, but I will leave those be for now. Cool. To anybody that's watching, if you have any questions, I'm going to spend the next kind of 10 minutes or so, 10, 15 minutes or so, answering questions on anything and everything. And then I will probably hop off for the night. My goal is to kind of just get samples done, and yeah, I was able to do that for the most part. So if anybody wants to talk about anything specific, now is the time. I'm an open book. I'm an open book. Let's throw on. I actually want to do that differently. Do I prefer raw samples or mix ready ones for your workflow? Quite honestly, these ones are my go-to. They sound like this. I have this muted. It's usually some blend of the three of them for like a snare drum, but I also have like just like a channel strip with a bit of processing on the whole thing. So I guess my answer would be mix ready, but it's kind of like my own samples, and it's all routed to a parallel compression, a reverb, and a bus where I usually gate the real snare off of it. Yeah, I will keep working on the song live on stream. I have a buddy of mine that's working on vocals right now, so I'm kind of just aimlessly like kind of creating other elements of it. Again, there's no like deadline, there's no pressure on this. This is just for fun, just to kind of be creative and enjoy working on audio and doing some fun stuff. And when you're working in that capacity, sometimes like the streams will be interesting and cool stuff will happen, and then sometimes you can kind of hit and miss. So yeah, I'm also just trying to get comfortable streaming because it is really enjoyable and I do feel comfortable, but yeah, it's like fun. It's fun, and it's fun talking to people. So this is kind of an experiment with me streaming as well, which was nothing I had planned. It just kind of happened. Do you often work on in a specific template, or does it change from project to project? I will usually. I do have a template, and usually the drums work off a similar template that kind of evolves with each project I do. You know, along the way, you kind of pick up little things that worked in some specific application. You might keep that on your template or not. Usually template with drums. I have like go-tos with bass, but that's really depends. If I'm working on like rock-based music, then yeah, a lot of it is templated. But when I mean templated, I mean I just have like go-tos, like things that are like, okay, I know I'm gonna EQ my snare drum like this, so I'm just gonna set all the parameters in one specific way so that I can open it up and just start tweaking knobs and not have to like waste time doing repetitive tasks that you know you're gonna do. Have your master bus set up, have all your routing set up. So that's kind of my thought process there. I'm gonna try this. This is gonna be insane. Let's throw on this. Kill the attack. Kill a lot of this ugliness. I need a part with ghost notes. This is silly, but I just want to see what happens if I bring the ghost notes up in volume in relation to the big snare sample in probably the worst way ever. Something. I do feel like I can make that more interesting. Maybe in the next session I'll have the actual electronic drums and the acoustic drums, so I can kind of get them actually mixing together instead of having like one little bounce of the track. And we'll go from there. Okay, yeah, that's going to be it. If anybody has any final questions, I'll be on for another 2 minutes, but I'm gonna start shutting it down. Any specific reason you still go for the Waves SSL instead of the new BX emulation? Nope. There is no specific reason. I've just been using the Waves SSL channel strip forever, like since I started recording, or I've been using it at least since 2012, 2013. So it's something that I just know how it works, as well as I have an SSL console at the studio that I record out of. So I'm really familiar with how the plugin interacts with audio and how the actual EQ interacts with audio. And I think for the most part, they're pretty close. I've never compared them one-to-one, but when I tweak something on the console, I can do a similar thing with the plugin, and it gives me, a very close result. So, yeah, it's just like an EQ that I know, that I know where to move it, and it does what it needs to do. I use it on drums, and I use it on vocals. I don't really use it too much on guitar these days, and I don't really use it too much on bass. Never really use it on bass. Yeah, it's a great EQ. Okay, I think that is where I'm going to wrap things up. So thank you very much to anybody that tuned in. I like going live. This is fun. I'm going to continue to do it. If you see me live, feel free to pop in, say what's up. As you know, I like to talk to the chat. And that is basically it for this stream. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Cory Bergeron. Create more, create more, create more. That is the end.